NFL Stock Exchange podcast. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That is Connor Rogers. This is a Monday morning, which means you guys know that it's a mock draft Monday. We're going to be having fun on today's episode. A week ago, we did back and forth snake draft style drafting our offensive rookie of the year candidates. Today, we're switching sides. We're going over to the defensive side. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go back and forth, snake draft style, drafting who we think is going to win defensive rookie of the year here in the 2022 season. Connor, my man, we're recording this on a Sunday, full transparency to everybody. You are mere hours away from watching your team, your hockey team, play in a Game 7. And I've just got to, what's the vibe check right here? Where are we mentally right now?
This recording session is a really good break from that kind of stress right now. I think that, I don't have the Rangers gear on yet. I will change into that as soon as I step away from this desk. We're going with the old NWO shirt today instead. A little rebellion. Yeah, we're coming in hot today. I'm fired up. You got yours out of the way. Your team won their Game 7 on Saturday night. You are just riding the good vibes train here on this Sunday to Monday stretch. I am instead sweating on today's show.
Tampa Bay Lightning, baby. They're the champs until they
just find a way.
Back-to-back Stanley Cup champs for a reason. God, I feel bad for Toronto. God, I feel so bad for Toronto. Dude, they're 0-9 in series clinching games since 2017.
You got to feel hopeless, like at this point.
I feel so bad
and they're such a good team. I saw your tweet that you're like, this is a great team. They are a great team. They got a good goalie. They obviously have incredible talent at forward. I don't know what they could do. Tough draw getting the Lightning. Nobody wanted the Lightning in the first round because their playoff experience in hockey matters.
A ton. A ton. Yeah. That's why, dude, I'm so excited to watch this Rangers-Penguins game with, well, I was going to say no dog in the fight, but like I do have a dog in the fight because I want the Rangers to win because I want this podcast to get absolutely hostile.
I texted you immediately after the series, and I was like, the thought of the NFL SC Conference Finals lives another day.
God, can you imagine Game 7? I won't even, if we go to a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals and it's Lightning Rangers, I'm not even gonna directly speak to you. We'll
just do this show.
We're gonna have to have a third party. Our producer's actually gonna have to be a part of the show because I'm gonna say to our producer, hey, will you tell Connor this when you're just sitting right there? That's how hostile.
Who knows? Maybe right now I'm miserable somewhere while you guys are watching or listening to this. Who knows? There's a good chance of that as well.
Oh man, I hope not. I truly hope not. So, hey, before we get to this draft, something fun that we wanted to do as we start our summer series of podcasts, which, by the way, guys, this is a good time to mention. We have been going 3 days a week on this podcast, but we told you we might be switching it up. We are switching it up for now. We're going to 2 days a week. So you're always going to get the Monday show here on a Monday. And then we're going to go Thursday as well, give you a fun show, get you ready for the weekend. So Mondays are going to be still a mock draft Monday format. Like I said, we're going to have a lot of fun with different topics and drafting under 25 players or players from different teams, players from other sports, players to be in an NFL street kind of a thing. We're just going to have a ton of fun with what we do every Monday. But then Thursdays is going to be more look aheads, analytical stuff. Summer scouting certainly is going to be big on those Thursday episodes too. So something that we wanted to do to have a little fun to start every single episode is I want to come up with a question of the day. And it's going to be a question that I'm going to pose to Connor first for the first couple of episodes. But honestly, guys, I'd love to hear from you guys. And they're going to be a little bit off the wall questions. We talk so much football on this show that we wanted to kind of get a little bit relaxed, have a little bit of fun before we really start to dig into the football topic of the episode. So for an example, and the first question of the day that I have here, Connor, when you brush your teeth, are you a toothpaste first guy or are you a water on the toothbrush first guy? I don't know your answer, and I would consider us good friends at this point, but I might have to drop that adjective good depending on what your answer is here.
So when I first saw this on Twitter, maybe 2 years ago now, and by the way, I love this idea because it kind of organically happened when we were bantering about the chores that are our kryptonite, and we saw the comment section fill up with about 70% of your comments were about what chores you hate doing. And we're like, this is a lot of fun. It's a great way for our audience to have more fun. It'll be the first 5 minutes of the show. If you're all about football, you're just a total football guy, you could skip ahead and catch all the football part.
Right.
When I first saw this come up, I was flabbergasted that there are humans that do not put water on their toothbrush before putting toothpaste.
Okay.
Like, I genuinely cannot believe, and it's apparently somewhat common-ish, that there are people that just put the toothpaste on right away, which are it's
freaks.
It's like brushing your teeth with sandpaper, like minty sandpaper. It's freakish. It's absolutely. I would, if there are somebody out there listening to this, please either comment on YouTube or tweet at us what your reasoning is behind you doing that. I genuinely.
That's what I want to know.
I need to know.
That's what I want to know.
I need to,
because the toothbrush, unless it's past the date of you should get a new toothbrush anyways, if the bristles are absolutely terrible and soft and don't have
stay
any
on top of that, folks.
body.
Come on. Please stay on top of that.
Come on. If they cost like $2 for like 5 of them. It's important, folks. If you're putting the toothpaste on first,
what's happening here?
You're an animal. You're an absolute animal. You gotta. You gotta moisten the bed for the toothpaste. And people will say, listen, I think that people's big response to this is gonna say, well, I put the toothpaste on, and then I put the water on because I want the water to get on the toothpaste and the toothbrush. But I don't think the toothpaste needs that.
No.
Right? Because then you're just getting like slimier, soggier toothpaste. Nobody wants
it runs
that.
down into the brush and sometimes off into the sink.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Like, what? You know what? I try to be open and accepting to people that do things differently. But there are some things that just don't need to be reinvented. And brushing your teeth is a very simple process that does not need to be reinvented.
I'm very curious as to what the very first person who ever brushed their teeth did.
Well,
which one they did.
When did that start? That raises my next question.
The ones reinventing it?
When did brushing teeth start? I feel like it's a relatively new thing considering humankind. Like, it's what, started in the last 100 years?
Considering no one before basically like the year 1800 smiles in any of their pictures.
No, they've got
rotted teeth.
No teeth left. Ah, man.
Okay, I have a bonus one really quick before we actually get into the draft. When you wash your hands, do you go water first or do you go soap first?
Water first.
Okay, all right. We're on the same wavelength here. I hope that there is one that somebody can pose to us that we absolutely disagree with, that it just gets heated in the first 5 minutes.
Oh,
I'm with you, man. The thought of putting soap on my dry ass hands before I wet them, it's
disgusting. It makes your hands feel like slimy, and then it takes longer to wash it off.
Ugh.
No, absolutely not. Oh man, we're gonna have a lot of these discussions over the summer, and I'm gonna learn. I'm glad that you and I are eye to eye. There's gonna be times where we definitely. I'll think of them down the road, not today, but there's definitely some that I'm weird about. But those two, hygiene. I don't reinvent the wheel with hygiene. Let me just say that right away. Like, there's nothing to reinvent there with hygiene. You don't got to overthink it.
As always, we want to hear from you guys. Just like we heard with you with the chores that you maybe didn't like, go to YouTube comments. Let us know what you do with both toothpaste and washing your hands. You can look, again, to save space. We won't judge you. You can still listen to the podcast. But if you're on the wrong side of things, just know we think that you're on the wrong side of things.
Man,
also,
there are some good ones out there.
Right. If you have any of these that you think of, put them in the comments.
We'll pick them up.
Tweet at us. Leave a iTunes review. We're always checking iTunes review as well. And like we said before, when we did the mailbag, like that's a really great way for you guys to help out the podcast. If this is something that you continually listen to, which we really, really appreciate, that's a fun way to do that. So we'll be sure to see it there if you do that. But anyways, we're going to be doing this every single episode throughout the summer. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to, cut it loose on this podcast, have a little bit more fun with it to start things off. So if you think of one that's really great that you've had with your friends or that you've seen online, let us know. We'll get into it, and then you guys can get into it in the comments as well. So we can hopefully have a lot of fun with that. Before we get to the draft, got to talk to you guys about our friends over at Jock Market. They are the presenting sponsor of the NFL Stock Exchange. Their motto, stop betting, start trading. You buy and sell shares of players in real time for real money while games are actually happening. So if Connor wanted to bet that somebody was going to score a hat trick tonight in game 7, not only could he freak the hell out when it happened because it means that his New York Rangers are probably advancing to the next round of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Get on right now.
He could get some cheddar cheese doing so, or alternatively, if he's somebody who hedges, because I know there's a lot of people who do that. He says, look, if the Rangers can't win, at least I'm going to win some money. I'm going to bet on Sidney Crosby to have a couple of points. I'm going to have Evgeny Malkin to have a couple of points. Like whatever it is, you can bet however you want. But the cool, unique thing is you are betting on player performances, which it's very unique. All shares have a guaranteed cash payout at the end of the night, depending on how that player plays and performs. You deposit right now with a promo code PFF and up to $100, Jock Market will match whatever your deposit is. So if you throw in $80, use the promo code PFF, you'll get an extra $80 to play with as well. Plus, you get a free PFF Edge subscription over at jockmarket.com/PFF. You can check it out, jockmarket.com/PFF, or download the app. That's how Connor and I use it. It's a really quick and easy way to have some fun, get some skin in the game, and really focus on player performances instead of overall teams. It's a very creative way to have a lot of fun watching some sports. Connor, which way do you want to go? You want to go first? You want to go?
No, I went first on the offensive rookie of the year. I want to offer the first overall pick to you on defensive. I want to be fair on the spot.
Okay. All right.
Even if we hate each other, if there's a Lightning Rangers conference finals, which I know I will not be fortunate enough to have, but I just want to throw it into the air while I can.
Come on, you got to believe. We manifest on this podcast.
You're right. I know. My
Positive
sports pessimism
energy.
has been so bad lately.
Listen, look, you know what the best thing for sports pessimism is? And I can say this from experience. Have your favorite football team just sign Tom Brady. It's that easy. Folks, it's that easy.
You're right. You're right, man. You are absolutely right. My version of that is Steve Cohen buying the Mets, and hopefully it works out the same way. I won't, not that confident, but you're right. That's the solution.
All right. Well,
putting water on your toothbrush before your paste.
All right. You are a fool for giving me the first overall pick. I'm going with the betting favorite. I don't think there's a lot to overthink here. I'm going Aiden Hutchinson, the pass rusher from Michigan, who went number 2 overall to the Detroit Lions. Look, the Lions basically had no pass rush last year. Even beyond the hometown connection of Aiden Hutchinson getting to stay in the state of Michigan, going from Ann Arbor to Detroit, which is not too far. Even with that being the case, even with that being the rooting story, even with that making this pick really great, they needed edge rusher bad, and it just happened to line up perfectly that kind of player at that position was there for them to take. I think he's a perfect kind of Dan Campbell guy. How Aiden Hutchinson played last year, and after listening to the Hutch podcast, which you guys can listen to, PFF did it. You could listen to it really anywhere you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify. You can watch it on YouTube as well. There's a part in there where he talks about him going into his junior season, so the COVID-shortened season, where he's like, I felt like I was in the best shape of my life. I'd never felt stronger. I'd never felt faster. And then he got hurt. He had the injury that kind of like took away his season there, which was already going to be a short season. Going into this upcoming year, he said that he got back to close to where he was there. And with him being fully healthy, man, I got to feel like he is still at that level. He is ready to hit the ground running. And Connor, what's this award, man? This award is a stat-driven award. If you're going to win it as a corner, you got to have interceptions. If you're going to win it as a linebacker, you got to have tackles. And if you're going to win it as a pass rusher, which is more common, you've got to have sacks. And sacks are going to be racked up every single year from some rookie. I think Aiden Hutchinson has a great chance to start right away, play right away, get a lot of stats. He's the first pick here for me.
I agree with you. I think that was definitely the right call. That was the pick that I would have made if I picked first again. I think there's no overthinking that one. And I totally agree with your thought process of it's a stat-based award. That's why, when I do throw money on this before the year starts, I look for guys that are usually going to be playing in the front 7. And last year, Micah Parsons won this award. He had 13 sacks. Before that, Chase Young. Before that, Nick Bosa. Before that, even Darius Leonard, an off-ball linebacker, his rookie season in the NFL, he had 7 sacks. He forced 4 fumbles. He broke up 8 passes. He made plays. That's 12 tackles for a loss. He made plays. So the last 4 guys have been front 7 players that have made plays. And then before that was Marshawn Lattimore. So every now and then you get a corner thrown into this, but the hit rate is much higher with front 7 players. I like the Hutch pick. And that's why I'm going to start off here with my first pick being Kvon Thibodeaux, which is kind of a similar argument to you in a sense that I look at this and just go, man, I'm going to take the guy that the opportunity is going to be significant, playing on Giants front across from Azeez Ojulari. He's playing next to some good defensive tackles, and they're going to really let him get after it. And I think the sack numbers for Thibodeaux will be pretty good this year, honestly. I think he'll be in the running for this along with Hutch. So Thibodeaux was a no-brainer number 2 pick for me there. And then it gets kind of interesting, right? After Thibodeaux and Hutch, definitely. The board kind of opens up. Trayvon Walker's the next guy in terms of favorites, but I'm not picking him. I don't think he's a guy that the stats will really overwhelm you as a rookie. There's something to like about Quay Walker because he's playing in a really good defense, but I'm not going that direction either. I'm going to go with Kyle Hamilton here. And it goes back to, once again, the argument of filling the stat sheet and making plays. And Hamilton went to, I would say, the best place he could have gone because they have paid Marcus Williams big money to be a traditional free safety. And I think it opens the door for Hamilton to really make plays at all 3 levels of the field. He's going to come down and he's going to get tackles for a loss or blitz and make plays on hitting the quarterback. I think he is going to be a little bit of a ball hawk on the intermediate and deep levels of the field. I think the tackle number should be really, really high for that defense because once again, he's going to line up everywhere. So I wouldn't consider Hamilton a favorite for this award, and he's not. But I think if you're looking when the field kind of opens up, a dark horse guy that I think is not only one of the most talented rookies, but in one of the best situations, it's Kyle Hamilton for me.
I think that I was wondering how early we were going to take Kyle Hamilton in this. And I think profile certainly goes a long way in this too, right? Especially when things are very close. Not that the higher draft pick player always wins, because that's definitely not the case, but you do want guys to have some flash, right? Voters vote for flash. And there's a couple of players here in the odds list, and you could go a lot of different directions. And I just feel like, for example, I'm looking at the 2 Jacksonville players who, if you look at the odds for, where'd they get this from? I think they got this from DraftKings. Aiden Hutchinson is plus 500. He's the betting favorite to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Kvon Thibodeaux is plus 550. And then the next 2 players are the Jags players. It's Trayvon Walker at plus 600, then Devin Lloyd, it goes up to plus 900. I don't know. Like, unless those guys have like crazy good years, I don't know if either of those guys are high profile enough, even with Trayvon Walker being a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah. The least talked about number 1 overall pick in my lifetime.
Right. Even like Aiden Hutchinson was talked about more than Trayvon Walker, right? Kvon Thibodeaux was talked more than Trayvon Walker. So I think that goes into it. And then also, how good are the Jags going to be this year? I am going to pick Trayvon Walker with one of my next 2 picks here, simply because it is a player who plays on the edge. He's going to play a lot. And if he gets enough sacks, let's say anywhere from 6 to 9 sacks, but he plays as an incredible run defender as well. Maybe some of the other guys around him will have underwhelmed, and maybe he'll get the notoriety that he deserves. Maybe the Jags will be playing a little bit better. I think there's a chance for it. I think him being 3rd on this list, if you ask me, is a little rich.
Yeah.
But I'm about to make a pick that some people might think is really rich. I'm going to take George Karloftis next, who is way down the list.
Oh, yeah.
Plus 1,600 to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. But the thing is, when you look at Kansas City's depth chart, George Karloftis has a chance to play very early on. If he comes on and he really hits the ground running this offseason, he could get a lot of work. I mean, they've got Frank Clark still. They've got Michael Dana. They have Chris Jones, obviously, but he's an interior guy. He's going to play no matter what. Dude, they desperately needed new blood on that defensive line, and I think they're gonna let George Karloftis loose. I think they are. I think this is in a situation where they're going to let him play a defensive end spot sooner rather than later, perhaps even being a starter as early as the first couple of weeks of the season. And I think that as long as he is healthy, he's going to be in there enough because of how strong he plays and how good he is at the point of attack, that he could put himself in a situation to really rack up some sacks. I don't know if he's going to be a sack master, but again, like, get himself in a situation where he plays for a high profile team that's going to be playing in a lot of big time games and playing along the defensive line, where they've also got Chris Jones on the defensive line, right? He's going to take some attention. A lot of these other guys are going to take attention too. The linebacker level is going to help out with how aggressive they are. So look, I'm hammering that front seven point that you made. I think that those are the safe bets. And I know I'm jumping over Jermaine Johnson to get to George Karloftis, but I'm going to go with George Karloftis here. So Trayvon Walker is my next pick. George Karloftis is my other one in this snake draft format.
So I don't think that's crazy. I'm not overly high on Jermaine for this award because of how much Saleh rotates his defensive linemen and the fact that Jermaine's kind of walking into a room where, yes, it was a big-time need, but he's not just put on this platter and saying, hey, play 90% of the snaps and play across from Carl Lawson or next to Quinnen Williams every single snap and just go after the quarterback and rack up the stat sheet. Like, I think they drafted Jermaine to become obviously to get after the quarterback, no duh, but deeper than that, to be a little bit more responsible against the run. The Jets were historically horrific against the run last year, and Jermaine was probably the best run defender out of the edge players in this draft, or one of the best run defenders. So I don't think he's not really like a great pick in my eyes for Defensive Rookie of the Year, where I totally understand your point. I actually think Karloftis has an opportunity playing across from Frank Clark, kind of like you said with Chris Jones there, on a high-profile team. They get themselves into a lot of shootouts, the Chiefs, right, that he's probably going to have a lot of pass rush snap opportunity. So it seemed like an off-the-wall pick when you made it, but like when you really dig into it, because the odds, that's why it seems like an off-the-wall pick.
For example, he's way down there.
Plus 1,600 is where I see him, and that's pretty deep, but I don't think it's that crazy. All right, so you also took Trayvon Walker.
Yep.
My third pick here after taking Thibodeaux.
I had to do it. That was the volume one,
he was
right?
Number one overall pick. Yeah.
That's the you're drafting a running back in fantasy football because you know that he's just going to get a lot of carries. Maybe you don't think he's the best back in the world, but he's going to get the opportunities. That's kind of my Trayvon Walker pick there.
So I'm going to go with Devin Lloyd in this pick. Okay. And he's somebody that to me fits a little bit of the mold of when Darius Leonard won the award. He's somebody that could just have this well-rounded stat sheet. I want to believe in the new Jacksonville staff to use their players the right way. Obviously, the previous one did not. Lloyd is somebody that if you drafted him and they moved up for him, if you take him just to be this off-ball linebacker, you're not getting maximum value with him. In my opinion, with Lloyd, he's somebody that if used the right way is going to be a really good early down run stopper in the middle of the defense and can play in zone coverage and make some plays on the ball. But on third and fourth downs, I want to see him either as a stand-up blitzer, whether it's mug looks, or I want to see him just straight up hand in the dirt rushing wide. And I think he's earned that with his college tape. So I'll go with Lloyd as my third overall pick because if used the right way, in my eyes, I really think he can walk out of the season with high tackle numbers as a linebacker.
Yeah,
a couple plays on the ball in the air, and I honestly think he's got 5 to 7 sacks in him. I really do. So I think Lloyd is the value pick of this entire draft. When I look at this board, he is tied with three other players as the fourth favorite. So plus 800 if you get the odds there or higher. There's a lot to like about that pick. Now after this is where...
Well, I hold on. I just wanted to say, like, on top of
that... Yeah, please, jump in here.
On top of the Darius Leonard pick... Or, sorry, not Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard is who I'm trying to compare to Devin Lloyd's case, because if you look at the past Defensive Rookie of the Years, yeah, Micah Parsons won it last year, but he's kind of the exception, right? Because of all the sack numbers that he racked up. Darius Leonard's the next guy on the list as a linebacker. It's only been Darius Leonard and Luke Kuechly who have won it as off-ball linebackers since 2010. Darius Leonard's stat line in that 2018 season, 163 combined tackles, which was a lot. It led the NFL. So them being able to say he led the NFL in tackles, I think went a long way towards him winning the award. He also had a couple of, AFC Defensive Player of the Week, Defensive Player of the Month, those awards, which the accolades help. He had 7 sacks and 2 interceptions as well. So that really is, it's tough for a linebacker, but I think that Devin Lloyd being able to play on all 3 downs, like you said, they got a lot of tackles to divvy out now with a totally new linebacker group. They're going to be able to blitz him a lot, and so he could get anywhere from 5 to 7 sacks, something like that. If you do that, I think that you're in contention to potentially win the award as a linebacker. It's tough, but Lloyd does have the skill set to do it. So I guess, if you're going to bet on anybody in this class, I think that he's probably the one to do it. The only thing that would hold me back is that he plays for Jacksonville. Will people give a damn because he plays for Jacksonville? Because remember this too. The Indianapolis Colts made the playoffs that year with Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard,
star,
right?
Year.
And he was awesome, and that team was good, and they made the playoffs. So they were able to say, people who were voting on this award were able to say he's in the middle of that defense that just made the playoffs. He led the league in tackles, and then he had these other stats here. So, like I was saying, Devin Lloyd has a skill set to do it. It's just, you got to get a little bit Hollywood with it, right? You got to have some headlines with you too. It's more than just the stats. So that's what was holding me back from really picking Lloyd above kind of where you picked him here.
Yeah, there's a lot of projection there, right? You look at Jacksonville and you go, okay, they paid Aluakon, they drafted Muma. Mm-hmm. So my thought is, and once again, this is a lot of projecting, they paid Foley Fadukasi, who is a true nose tackle. I think they're going to play with Lloyd as a true linebacker on first and second downs. And then maybe you get Muma on the field with Aluakon as your linebackers on third downs. You kick Trayvon Walker inside and Lloyd rushes wide. Because I think this regime is just out on K'Lavon Chaisson. Like, he's done nothing. They didn't draft him. He hasn't done anything with 2 staffs now. They got Josh Allen there, obviously. Who's good? Josh Allen is good, is what I'm saying. I just think Chaisson.
Right.
I don't project any role for him, and I think that opens the door for rush opportunity for Lloyd. But
I think you're right.
I'm not in the Jacksonville building, so we'll find out if all that projecting amounts to anything. All right, so this is where it gets really hard, man. Like, the 6 players that we've taken already.
Don't you do it.
Thibodeaux. I took Thibodeaux, Hamilton, and Lloyd.
Don't you take my guy. Don't you do it.
I actually
don't do it.
It's so wide open here that I know who you want, and I won't take him.
It's plenty wide open, so don't take my guy. That's all I'm saying.
I know exactly who you want, and I'm not going to take him because, speaking of terrible teams,
all right. I'll rebuttal when we get there. I'll rebuttal.
Wow,
it gets super wide open, right?
It is so wide open.
Do you want me to do an ad read? Well, you can look at it.
You can.
I can do it.
The ad read.
This is about the time of the podcast when I would do the ad read. So I can throw you a bone here. I give you a little extra time, and I'll do the ad read. Sound good?
That's fair. You're a good teammate, even when you're pissed at me, or potentially pissed at me.
Listen. I swear to God, if we come out of this ad read and you pick
you just
my
give
guy,
me more time to think about stealing your guy.
Swear to God.
This
podcast is sponsored by our friends over at Sunday. Do you have a lawn that has weeds, bare patches, pet spots, anything like that? Well, Sunday can help you solve all of these problems and more the easy way. They've got everything you need, from fertilizer to seeds to weed control, all delivered right to your door. The summer is right around the corner. I live in a downtown city in Cincinnati. Connor lives in Hoboken, right outside of the city. We don't have lawns. We don't have this luxury. You, the good people out there, you do. So do this for us. Make sure that your lawn is good as it can be for us. Sunday can help you grow a beautiful lawn without the guesswork or the nasty chemicals, which is key. Their custom plans include fertilizer, everything that you need to easily care for your lawn. You can feel good about the kids playing around, the pets playing around, because they don't involve a lot of those chemicals. You just attach the ready-to-use pouch to a garden hose and spray. That's it. That's all you need. It takes less than 15 minutes, and Sunday is offering a 20% off to our listeners here on this podcast. Full season plans start at $129, and you can get 20% off when you check out getsunday.com/NFL. NFL. That is 20% off your custom plan at getsunday.com/NFL. But it's all I got. That's all I can do.
You did good. You did real good. You helped me out. I still haven't made a choice, but no,
that's
I'm
on
kidding.
you. That's on you. Then.
I got my choice.
I
got my choice. I'm taking Nakobe Dean, who, I mean, it's my fourth pick here, so I'm not. I don't care about the risk in this spot. Now I know he's beat up from a long college football season. He's been wearing the sleeve on his knee. There's a lot of reports out there. Obviously, the shoulder. Whether they think it's clean, he thinks he's clean. I'm sure the body's beat up. And I have been a believer that taking Nakobe Dean in the third round was even worth it if you were barely going to play him this year. You're like, whatever, we're going to rest him, get him right for 2023. It sounds like he's going to be full go. So I'll take Dean here. I think he has a easy, clear path to start. He's playing behind Jordan Davis again, which if you've watched him play behind Jordan Davis in the past, all the dude does is make plays. I think he's on a good team. I think he's on a division that there's some offenses that can be not Dallas, but I think there's some matchups there that could be fish food, and Dean can make plays. So I really like Nakobe Dean's value in this spot. I saw him at plus 1,200. I take him as my fourth pick here.
Okay, this is good. You did not take my guy. You did not take the guy that I wanted here. A little recap for those keeping score at home. I got Aiden Hutchinson, I got Trayvon Walker, got George Karloftis. A lot of beef. A lot of beef there with my picks. You got Kvon Thibodeaux, you got Kyle Hamilton, you have Devin Lloyd, and Nakobe Dean. So you get two linebackers off the board, and you got one pick left. I got two. I got back-to-back here. And Connor, we don't have a cornerback off the board.
No, we don't.
That is changing right now. I'm going with my guy, Darius Stingley Jr. And Darius Stingley Jr. right now is, where are the odds? Plus 1,000. To win defensive rookie of the year. And look, it's tough, right? It's tough to win this award as a corner because in order to do it, you got to get a lot of interceptions. But when Darius Stingley Jr. has been healthy and playing at his best, what's he been able to do? Go get interceptions.
You're 100%
go back
right.
To that freshman season, he was targeted a lot and he had 6 interceptions that year. That's kind of what you need, right? When you look at was Marshawn Lattimore, I think, the last one to win.
He's the last corner to win it, and before him, it was Marcus Peters.
And
those guys find the football.
Marshawn Lattimore had 5 interceptions his rookie season. Marcus Peters had 8. So, you need something around that mark. Houston's not a good football team. There's no doubt about it. But if Darius Stingley Jr. is that shining player for them, he's going to be that in the fact that they're going to target him and he's going to get a lot of interceptions. So I'm trusting the ball skills there, and I'm going with the playmaker pick here, taking Darius Stingley Jr. And I don't know if this is going to hurt you, but I'm also taking the other corner. I'm also taking Sauce Gardner here.
Okay.
So I don't know if you were going to take.
Makes me happy.
Were you going to take him?
I wasn't. No,
okay.
I was hoping you weren't going to take Jermaine because I'll take the flyer on Jermaine to close this out.
Okay. So no, I'm not taking Jermaine. I'm going to take Sauce Gardner, and his odds, I believe, are the same as Stingley's, plus 1,000. Now, playing corner, very difficult as a rookie. We've already made that very clear. When you look at Sauce Gardner's stats over the last 3 years that he has been a player at Cincinnati, 3 interceptions. The guy's been able to get his hands on the football. Now, some of those picks, of course, targets easier than others. And doesn't have a lot of targets to it, but he's getting takeaways when they're coming to him. Here's another key thing for them. I think the Jets are going to be better this year. And I'm not just saying this because you're my friend and you're on this podcast. I'm not just saying it because I know a lot of Jets people listen to this podcast. I genuinely think the Jets are going to be better this year. There's going to be a lot of hype. I think Zach Wilson is going to take the next step up. I think the offensive line is going to improve. The playmakers have improved. I think the defense is certainly going to improve. And Connor, I think the national media is jonesing for the Jets to be good. They want the Jets
really bad. It goes both ways.
Right,
Never in the middle.
But they've already talked about the bad enough. They've already talked about it. It's been years. They've been disappointing for years, since the Mark Sanchez years.
And people like Rex Ryan's years too, a lot. That helps a lot.
And here's the thing. Coach. If the Jets are good, and if because of Jermaine Johnson, Carl Lawson, Quinnen Williams, if for whatever reason, the pressure up front is fantastic for them. And Ahmad Garner can get his hands on 4 or 5 interceptions this year because he's on a Jets team that I think the national media is going to be talking about a lot if they win. I think that he would have a real good momentum chance to win this award. Plus, just got to throw it out there. Change his number to number 1. And that
pretty great look.
Matters.
Aesthetically, he's off to an incredible start.
It matters. So I'm going both corners. I'm going both corners who have plus 1,000 odds to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm going with Derek Stingley Jr. and then Sauce Gardner.
Man, you got me a little fired up. That was good. That was real good. And, to even further enhance your point, I think the Jets' quarterback schedule is not as bad as a lot of teams on the grand scale. And I'm not saying the Jets are going to be this great team or anything, but they play the Browns week 2. That might not be Deshaun Watson. They obviously get the Steelers that are going to be dealing with a transition at quarterback. They play Tua twice. They play their quarterback schedule is not, and that came off as a big shot at Tua, but it's more that
it was just like you were
that
just
was bad.
like
that was bad.
You were just like, yeah, play Tua.
I'm not
twice.
even like a Tua hater, by the way, for people listening to this podcast. But I just think that the Jets don't run into this gauntlet of like every great quarterback the entire year. They have some weeks where it's like you should take advantage of these matchups. So I like where your head's at there. I will close this thing out taking Jermaine. I know I said earlier he's not a great pick for Defensive Rookie of the Year. This is my 5th pick. Trevor's already made 5. So this is player number 10. This is the final player. This is player number 10 in the draft. So this is, and he's tied as the 4th favorite with a ton of guys.
Right.
So it goes back to my point that with Jermaine, I do think he's going to be rotated a lot. That I don't know if I believe in the sack numbers as a rookie, but he could have a lot of tackles for a loss. He's playing in a scheme that is very rush, figure out the rest later. Under Saleh, we'll see how run responsible they get after a tough year last year. So I will close this out with Jermaine. I think that it would be pretty hard to not take him. There's not a lot of great options on the board. The other guys in contention for me here were Devontae Wyatt, who's all the way down the board. Quay Walker, I think that he can develop really nicely there. I don't know if I believe him having a Defensive Rookie of the Year caliber year. That's a lot to ask.
I thought about picking Quay, but because I think that they prioritized him for a reason, right? He goes 22 overall for a reason. They're going to play this dude. And I think he's got a good defensive line up front, right in front of him. But he also has Campbell playing next to him, who had played a really great year last year. So it's not like Quay Walker's...
They're similar players, which is really funny.
Well, it's not like Quay Walker's in this situation where almost a little bit like the Devin Lloyd conversation we were having earlier, who's making a tackle? Like somebody's got to make a tackle at the end of every play.
Who's it getting funneled to?
It doesn't, right? It doesn't have to be Quay Walker. And Quay Walker might have a really nice rookie season, but I don't think he's going to rack up the stats like I listed off with Darius Leonard that you would need to get awarded Offensive Rookie of the Year or Defensive Rookie of the Year. Packers are going to make the playoffs, right? They're going to be in contention. They're probably going to win that division again. So that part of the puzzle, being a headliner player for a good team, that's there. I don't know if I see the flash all the way around the box score for Quay Walker.
I think he's still figuring it out, which is... You want to hear something insane, Trevor, that you made me, kind of run back to when you picked the corners back to back? I was curious. I was like, what does it take to be a corner to win this award? And Marshawn Lattimore's year was really good, but it was like, it wasn't crazy, right? I'll get to that in a minute. When Marcus Peters won this award, he had 8 picks. 2 of them were brought back to the house. That's amazing, right? Amazing. He broke up 26 passes.
Yep.
He's never even come close to replicating a season like that again. Obviously, reputation plays into it. Marcus Peters is an awesome player. That's an unbelievable season for a 22-year-old corner. Like, I didn't even realize how good it was because the Chiefs weren't the Chiefs in 2015. They were a good team. They weren't the Mahomes-led Chiefs. That's unbelievable, that season.
Dude, and you scoring touchdowns definitely helps your case.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, helps your case a lot. And I believe Charles Woodson was the last corner to win before Marcus Peters won. Marcus Peters won
it was a long drought.
Yes. And Charles Woodson won it in 1998.
My God.
It's tough. It's very tough. I wasn't going to pick the corners early in this draft, but I was cool with taking them at 4 or 5 because, let's look at some of these other guys, which you started to do. Quay Walker, you mentioned. You got Nakobe Dean. Jordan Davis, for as good as he is and has
stats. It's hard.
Right.
He might be he could be the best defensive rookie, but he would never win this award.
I agree with you. Trent McDuffie, I thought about.
Me too. That was the one. It went back to your Karloftis argument. Good team, opportunity. He's going to get tested. The ball's going to come his way. He can make plays. I almost took him over Jermaine. It was really tough.
My biggest issue with him, because I think I'll say the catalyst for why you would pick him is because I think he's going to get a lot of playing time in the secondary. When I say secondary, there's a reason I didn't just say at corner. I think there's a chance that they could move him around a lot. They could let him operate in space. And when you do that, you give yourself a chance to read the quarterback, break on some balls, get some interceptions. Trent McDuffie only had 2 career interceptions when he was at Washington. He just didn't come down with it a lot.
Yeah.
And whether the speed or play style or lack of arm length, like whatever it is, whatever goes into it, him being of a smaller size, he just didn't come away with a lot of picks. So for a guy to only have 2 career picks in college to then, what did we say? You got to have like 5 or 6 to win it.
I think
to
so.
Win that
unless
award.
Everybody else just sucks this year.
It's a massive.
That's not what you want to bet on.
Right. It's a massive jump there. So McDuffie, I thought about. Kyer Elam, I also thought about, but he too didn't have a ton of ball production at Florida. And I think he's going to get a lot of targets, especially if Tre'Davious White is back soon. But I don't know. It would be, again, you'd be betting on him to kind of show who he was as a ball skills guy more than he ever did in college, which is that's a tough bet.
Is there anyone you like that is just wildly off the board here? Like I'm talking about like outside of like plus 3,000. Was there anybody that kind of caught your eye?
I don't mind Lewis Cine.
That was the one I was like, man, he should be a little higher than that because of who he plays next to. Chanel at plus 4,000. He could have high tackle numbers. That was way out there. And then after that, I was kind of like Logan Hall plus 6,500 sounds good when you first read it.
He will not get the stats.
That's
he will not get the stats.
It's just not going to be the stats there to do it.
Two other cheeky bets that I got right here. Arnold Ebiketie, because I think that there's no one else along that edge rush group.
Him and Malone should start right away.
Right. And I think that he's got a chance to rack up some serious stats. The only problem is that I think Atlanta's going to be putrid. So I don't think people are going to give a damn. But the other one, Nick Bonito. Nick Bonito is plus 6,000. Okay. And he is in a situation where Denver can use him solely on exactly what he does well.
Yep.
As a designated speed pass rusher.
Yep.
And this dude might, I don't want to say luck into because it's a terrible way to say it, but fall into like 7 or 8 sacks this year.
Very easily
You could see him falling into 7 or 8 sacks this year. And if you push that a little bit further, like if you're making a bet on it at plus 6,000, there is a reality that you can craft in your head to where this guy finishes with 11 sacks this year.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that when you look at that team, you go, man, I'm scared of Randy Gregory. I think I'm scared of Bradley Chubb. I know he's had like a weird career. It's really just been hampered by injuries. But I still think he's a good player.
Oh,
I think he's
a
really good player.
Yeah.
So when you factor all that in, they have great corner talent, great safety talent. That there's going to be coverage sacks there. If they use Bonito on stunts and twists, and as the third, you're right, Trevor. Like he might be a guy that plays 55% of the snaps and ends up with 10 sacks, and you're like, how the hell did this happen?
Right. And we're not saying that that's 100% going to happen, but if you're taking a long shot bet, Nick Bonito is probably my favorite one of the group. Especially
I really like where your head's at with that. That would sum it up for me, though. After that, I mean, obviously D'Angelo Malone's my guy. He's plus 10,000, which is bananas.
Bro.
I'll sprinkle.
Throw $100 on it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Could you imagine?
You win 10 grand.
That would be so.
You win
nuts.
10 grand.
I agree with you. The Falcons' defense is just.
D'Angelo Malone goes off for 15.5 sacks, and I never hear from Connor again.
And then it's like, I quit the pod. How did he retire at 30 years old? D'Angelo Malone won Defensive Rookie of the Year. Oh, it's great. You know what's better than cryptocurrency? D'Angelo Malone defensive rookie of the year bets.
Malone.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh,
I would name my
God.
I would name my yacht Malone.
Yeah, you'd have to.
I would, and then I would buy the Malone too.
Now, I don't know what yacht you're getting with $10,000, but maybe you're upping the bet you didn't tell me.
No, yeah, it would have to be that I put my savings account on D'Angelo Malone winning this award. Whatever sportsbook would allow me to do that. My goodness. Just another day on the stock exchange, folks.
Listen, now I'm
You're thinking about it.
I'm thinking about it. Look,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it.
I'm gonna have to change my Twitter bio to "This is not betting or stock advice. It's just fun podcasting."
Or is it?
Or is
it retirement planning? Strategic retirement planning. Okay, here's what we're going to do. What do you got in your portfolio? All right, take it all out right now. Throw it on D'Angelo Malone at 10K to 1 odds.
That's our strategy.
It's going to hit. You want to retire at 32? Bet on D'Angelo Malone.
Plus 10,000?
Plus 10,000?
I swear if I log on to the sportsbooks Tuesday and see Malone at plus 5,000, I'm going to flip.
They're listening.
They moved it.
Tell me what future stock gives you a better chance of cashing out than D'Angelo Malone.
I mean, if
10,000 to 1.
If 30 people listen to this, sprinkle like $10 on him, I bet those odds move to plus 8,000. That's how volatile they can
I just realized I said it wrong. It's not 10,000 to 1. It's plus 10,000. There's
plus 10,000.
We're a stock exchange podcast. We gotta get the lingo right. Hey, before we get out of here, gotta remind you guys, 25% off any PFF subscription when you use the promo code NFLSE. You get the fantasy football guide. You get the in season. You get the in-season betting tools like when to bet on the D'Angelo Malone futures. You get all the premium data when D'Angelo Malone racks up his 10th sack in week 12. You get the draft data when we're going to ask who's the next D'Angelo Malone in next year's draft. You get all of this stuff if you have a PFF subscription. You can get it for 25% off over at pff.com. Well, that's it. I guess we'll recap. We probably should. My 5, Aiden Hutchinson, Trayvon Walker, George Karloftis, Derek Stingley Jr., Sauce Gardner to win Defensive Rookie of the Year this year. Connor went with Kvon Thibodeaux, Kyle Hamilton, Devin Lloyd, Nakobe Dean, and Jermaine Johnson. Let us know who you guys thought had the better list, who you think is going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. We'd love to read the comments, love to read the conversation there. Let us know if you are an ally of the pod and put the water on the toothbrush first, or if you are an absolute anarchist and put the toothpaste on the toothbrush first. We would love to hear you there as well. Also, if you have any other crazy question of the day, questions to open the show, we would love to hear those as well. Connor, Godspeed, my friend. I know that this comes out on Monday, so we already know the result, but I'm truly pulling for your Rangers. Sorry, all Pittsburgh Penguins fans out there, but I am pulling for the Rangers tonight.
You're a good lad, and that's why I appreciate one of many things I appreciate about you. Man, this was summer's going to be fun. I know there's going to be some people that might be disappointed we go to 2. I'm going to be honest. We don't want to sit here and talk to you about OTAs all month. We'd rather put everything into the 2 shows. I think they'll be longer than our traditional 3 a week. The 2 shows will be longer. We'll get more life into them. And listen, when we get back to football season sometime in August, we're going to be firing on all cylinders and be back to our normal schedule. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. And these drafts are going to continue, which has been a blast.
I think it's going to be the way that we were talking about it in our pre-production stuff last week. It's less shows, but it's going to be the same amount, if not more time devoted to them. So we're going to be able to pour a lot more time into those fun mock draft Mondays, and especially into summer scouting, right? When we have a full position that we got to get through, we're not going to shorten the time on it. Those are things that we're going to evaluate all of the prospects that we think are top guys, some of our top 5, some of our sleepers, some of the things that we're predicting, what we've seen on film already from these guys. And so even though we're going to 2 days a week, we're still going to put plenty of time into this podcast to make sure that every episode is up to you guys' standard, because, that's what matters. The good people out there, making sure we're giving them a good product. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Again, let us know who you think the Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to be in the comments. We will see you guys on Thursday. This has been the NFL Stock Exchange. I'm Trevor. That's Connor. We'll see you guys then.